can't sleep, trapped in my own mind. Anxiety. Drowning in the darkness, just can't see the light. Depression. Doubtful, insecure, can I really do this? Imposter syndrome. I'm alone, unloved, just feel invisible. That's loneliness. We're not therapists, but we need one.
Hello, and welcome to We're Not Therapists, but we need one.
The podcast where we have honest and vulnerable conversations about our mental health with one another.
I'm Jay,
And I'm Anthony, and neither of us are therapists.
but we're trying to help ourselves and each other by sharing our experiences and feelings.
In this show, we'll deep dive into topics like anxiety, depression.
Self-esteem, trauma, and more.
We'll talk about how they affect us
How we cope.
and what we've learned along the way,
We're not doing this to bash or blame anyone.
especially our families who may have contributed to our mental health challenges,
We're doing this to heal and grow.
and hopefully inspire others who can relate and open your mind to your own healing.
We also want to warn you that this show may contain some sensitive and triggering content.
We'll be talking about personal and painful things that happen to us and how they still affect us to this day.
If you're not comfortable with that, or if you feel like you need professional help,
This show may not be for you, but
if you're ready to join us on this journey of self-discovery and self-improvement, we're glad to have you.
we're not experts, but we're honest and we're not alone.
Now, let's start the timer. Anthony, how do you feel today?
I'm really tired today. I'm tired. I'm just sort of like in a fuck it mood. You ever get a case of the fuck it's?
Same.
Nah, I've been in a fuck it mood all day. I've been like doing this up and down thing with depression where I got like not okay for a minute. And now I'm kind of coming back up. And yesterday took the wind out of my sails because I had a meeting with my boss about a proposed schedule change that I was hoping for, and I didn't get it, which was fine. I expected maybe that to be the case, but then they counter offered with like a worse schedule than I have now. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, now I don't want to do anything. And I'm afraid that since we brought it up and made a business case for it, that they're just going to say, well, now you have to.
Now this is the business case because you really were good at this.
You're just so fucking good at what you do. You found a gap in the business, and now we're going to make you plug it for absolutely no incentive.
Yeah.
And if that becomes the case, well, let's just say I'm not going to do a whole lot of work.
Work your wage.
I'm going to work a little less than my wage.
I'm going to make them make me work for my wage.
I worked way over my wage for the first year I've been here, so
It's cute.
um
You got to let it catch up now.
yeah, I'm gonna let it catch up for a while. It's tragic because I do like my boss and I like my coworker, and it's the business is frustrating me. Because it just seems to be like little thing after little thing where I find them taking advantage of people or not trusting their people or just generally being a little shitty.
Wow.
And
It's just nice to know that that's everywhere.
I just hate that's the prospect of it, because like you can't just be a little shitty all the time and then not give people things like, sick pay or, those types of things irritate the crap out of me, and they do not lend to my mental health.
Well, and
So,
it's
yeah.
always like no
I'm a little
perks,
jaded.
just things that we take away usually, or things that we change, and then your perk is occasionally hey, here's a donut. We brought donuts today.
They brought bomb pops around the other day, and I was like, I don't want a bomb pop. I mean, it is cold as shit outside, but like...
Cold.
Or cold. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I just got done mowing the yard, and I know you did too, so I think that's my excuse, is I'm a little sun-zapped.
Oh, well, you're going to see Merlin come into my screen.
Hi, Morels.
He's
So,
like,
yeah,
oh,
I'm-
you're sitting in the office?
Are you recording something? Time for the Merlin show.
He's very much, oh God, who was it on Family Guy? Me.
Oh, was it Sandra Bullock?
Nah, was it?
I think it might have been Sandra
It might have
Bullock.
been.
Yeah. Anyways,
Whatever.
Whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just tired. I'm tired right now, and
I
I'm a
get
little
it.
jaded, and I'm feeling a little jaded about reality as a whole.
Mm,
Still,
always.
I'm trying not to because it's really zapping my will to do anything outside of just like what I have to do for the day.
Yeah.
So at least getting ready in the morning isn't taking me a Herculean effort because I've been there and that is the worst. So I'm not so bad that that's happening to me. but,
Yeah.
but I am super just jaded and I think I'm lacking purpose right now and that's frustrating me.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm tired also. That's,
We vibe so well.
I know. Well, what was it? A couple weeks ago, at the end of June, I decided to stop taking my ADHD meds because I was really tired of the side effects. So I finally caved and did it. And coming off of them was a few days of like some weird symptoms, nothing serious, but just weird. And I adapted to them. And then for a few days, I was like, you know, I read that adults sometimes get off the medication and their symptoms don't come back and don't come back as strong. And I was like, maybe that's what's happening because I've been feeling decently normal. But then my first like bad day of sleep has like put me right back into my old cycle. And I did not realize how much that medication changed a lot of how my brain worked and how, I don't know, how not as chaotic and dramatic I could be in my own head. And as you witnessed this last Monday, when I messaged you, I had just a list of things that was running through my head and that was exhausting me. And I was just ruminating over all of the thoughts equally at the same time. So I finally called I messaged my psychiatrist and I heard back and she's like, oh, I'm really glad you went off that medication if you're having that many side effects. And she's like, we'll get in touch and we'll schedule a new appointment so we can find something else. We have more options. And I'm assuming Wellbutrin will be next. Fine. Awesome. Whatever. Called. My appointment is not until like August 9th.
Jesus, that's
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like struggling to focus at work again. It's like hard to get me to do stuff because I'm just like 18 other things are going on in there now. And I'm like, how did I last so long in life?
that is so wild. I debated. Obviously, I've been coming off of Lexapro. I think I might go back to 5 milligrams a day, at least for a little while, and see if that helps where I'm at, because, man. But I also am in this place, like, if that is what's happening, and it's me coming off the Lexapro, and that's what's causing me to just be in this, like,
Yeah, then
fucking funk, then I should go back on it. Not as much as I was taking, for sure, but then, like, the other part of me that wanted to come off due to the sexual side effects is like, well, fuck, I guess just no orgasms for you.
this is it. This is your last orgasm.
You can either not have not suicidal thoughts. You can either not be ruminating about what it would be like to not have to be alive anymore, or you cannot have orgasms. So pick your
Damn it,
poison.
I guess when you put it in that perspective. You know what? I'll take the Lexapro, the lack of Lexapro. I'm kidding.
I don't know. I don't even think I positioned it that well just now. But the point is, I can either, if that's what's happening, I can either be not depressed or I could have orgasms and be depressed. So very frustrating.
That kind of made me depressed hearing about it.
I know. It's been going through my head a lot, and I'm like,
I can get a nice hit of dopamine, but still be sad.
So sad.
Or I could never be sad, and then also just never have that dopamine.
Well, that's not even the Lexapro made me not sad. I guess it made me not sad. It didn't make me like happy, but it did make me not sad. And
Right.
So I think that was part of it where I was just like, ugh. That's the other thing is it rough because I'm now having to deal with all of these feelings that have been just sort of numbed out for the longest time. Is that why I'm struggling currently?
Yeah. Well, and I'm in the same thing where like I'm kind of in an odd point in my life where I've been kind of at a steady pace of the same things for quite a while. And I mean, yes, I've had some differing things happen here and there, and now like so much is up at once that there's an uncertainty on what's going to happen in the future with like living situation and relationships and all that stuff because so much is happening at once. And I don't know if I'm just being chaotic with it because there's so much to think about or what. But it's a really exhausting situation to dwell over. So exhausting.
Well, and that's, at least you have an excuse because the things that you're probably ruminating and dwelling on right now are things that are currently happening to you. Whereas all of the things that I ruminate and dwell on are things that are happening as society is concerned for the most part. And those are the things that really get me down and depressed. And I don't know why I can't just let go of it sometimes. Like, I just don't know why my brain is constantly making these 72 different associations. Like, I see, I don't know, somebody pull out in front of me. Maybe they didn't even see me coming in my car, but they pull out in front of me, and my head does this whole fucking set of trapeze act that it jumps from one platform to the next and through the air and does 72 backflips until I'm already just like livid about the state of society and the entitlement of people.
And it's funny because like all those things happen to me. I like watch the news and I see all this shit like we complained about last session.
Yeah.
And people pull out in front of me and I'm just annoyed, but like I almost shrug my shoulders at like, I don't even want to think about this right now. Like this is something I can't control as much as these other situations. And so like they just pop up and I know they're there, but I'm like, no, this isn't on my priority list right now. But it's annoying because they're always back there. Like then the news will pop up again or I'll get a message from somebody about it. And I'm just like, yes. I know. I know it's a stress. I get it. Society sucks right now.
Yeah.
And then I turn around and I'm just like, there's more I got to worry about.
And that's, I guess, part of it too, is worrying about things that are closer to home. And just, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm just exhausted of things. And I know that if I can practice a little radical acceptance, that I can move past a lot of it. The problem is there are these core bits of me that do not want to accept a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like as I'm saying this out loud, I can do well to remind myself that accepting the state of things does not mean acquiescing to their morality or the state of good or bad. It's just also accepting that like that is how it is, and certain things are beyond your direct control.
Well, that's it. It's kind of accepting that this is life around you. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it. It doesn't mean you have to support it, and it doesn't mean you have to go along with it. But you do have to accept and acknowledge that it's always going to be there in some fashion.
Yeah. Stupid society.
And the more and more I dwelled on it without that thinking, the more upset I got. And I got to the point where I was like, I just have to know that this is inevitable. I can never, ever get everyone to change their mind to think the way I do. And they don't have to.
Well,
and so I don't know. I can't let someone else's horrid way of thinking impact my life.
Yeah. I wonder because I talked to my therapist a little bit about this, and I wonder if maybe I'm taking all of these external factors, and if I'm mad at society, but really I'm mad at like family members who are supporting things like Donald Trump, where I'm like in realizing that I care a little bit more than I thought I did, in that type of betrayal, and I'm wondering if that is me just projecting.
So that is another thing I've recently come across. I said, I don't think I'm actually mad at that specific person. I'm mad at their way of thinking that my family agrees with. And I'm mad that how do I say this? I'm mad that I have family that's so focused on their way of thinking that they would rather adapt to that than to love me as who I am.
Yes, well said, because that is exactly my frustration to a degree. It's just weird because my family accepts me, or at least the ones that I talk to do. So the people I actually stay in touch with, accept me. It's almost like this, yeah, we love you, but not enough. Not quite enough.
And when I say my family, I want to clarify that I'm sure none of them will listen. But if they do, I want to clarify that not every single person's this way. But it's just like there's a majority of them that do think that way.
Yeah, and there's also like these standardized ideas that we have of people who vote along party lines like that, where I'm sure I'm projecting some beliefs they don't have onto them, because I expect that that's what they would have, but it may not necessarily be true. And that's me giving them the benefit of the doubt, which I don't usually do to anybody.
But it also is me sitting there going, how come you've designed your view of me? How come you have conditional love? How come you don't have unconditional love? Why is your love conditional based off of how you wished I would be, how you set an expectation, and I'm not meeting the expectation that you designed for no reason?
I feel like there are so many families out there like that. So many parents have kids because they have an idea of what their kid is going to be in their head. And when that doesn't happen, they get disappointed, or they just, in the case of especially Christian households, not necessarily always disowning, but like in your situation where it's just like, ooh, it's taboo to talk about. And so you have to leave this whole part of yourself at the door. And they don't. And they don't understand like that. They just don't get it because they never will. They've never had to deal with that marginalization.
Yeah.
And, Lord, yeah,
It's funny too. For years, until I went through cancer, actually, I was focused on doing everything to make my parents approve of me, and I wanted them to be absolutely happy with me, and I wanted to prove how successful I could be, even though they, thought I was going to be a big failure and an embarrassment. And then I changed. Yeah, then I changed after I went through cancer, because I was like, oh, I don't give a shit about what you think. But now it almost drives me nuts that I give them ammo to feel superior to their friends, because I have a decent job. I have a house and cars on my own. I take care of myself solely, and that is something that they want. That is something that they compare to their friends, because they've specifically said that some of their friends, their kids live with them temporarily or right now, and they're just deadbeats. And I hate now that I am living the expectation that they had of me. But of course I won't like sacrifice my well-being just to spite them. But it does drive me nuts that I literally give them ammo to feel that way against people that they seem close to.
Yeah, I could see that. And I understand it. I mean,
I
But
know it's
you're
not the
right. You
smartest
can't
thought.
stop. Well, I mean, but I get it because you
Yeah.
do want to be spiteful to them because, especially when people are shitty to you, you want to be shitty back to them. It's a
Yeah,
natural
it's
reaction.
almost like you want to teach them a lesson, but I'm not that person anymore. Used to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really funny because it's it's just funny to imagine them bragging and then just everybody having this open secret to know that you're gay and then like I'm imagining your parents bragging about you and having that ammo and like doing those things and having their friends be like, well, Johnny might be living on the couch, he might be a deadbeat, but at least he's straight.
Yeah, I and I know that lives in their mind, but they hide it. They don't want to think about those things. That's they gaslight themselves a lot into not acknowledging things that exist, so that way they don't have to think about it. Um, we don't like to. It's like abortions. We don't acknowledge the fact that there are reasons why people need them. We've come to the conclusion that no, that's not what happens, and there's other ways around it. There's only very few cases where this is the case that it should happen, and I'm like, stop gaslighting yourself and like look into real life and how life is.
As we're saying this, do you think that maybe they have some distress whenever they bring that stuff up to their friends? Like, do you think that that causes them turmoil?
Oh, I don't think they actually bring it up in like a, oh, my kid's better than you. I think they only bring it up if someone's like, how's your kids doing? And she'll be like, oh yeah, good job, taking care of themselves, blah blah blah. And that's it. Like it's always this humble, oh, they're fine. But I know by the way that they have talked about people in the past that it's very much, well, we're just proud of you for sure because I mean, so and so's kids borrow money from their parents all the time, and you never ask for money from us, which actually leads me to something. Um, I actually pay for my parents' cell phones still to this day, and I have for several years.
Whoa, you shouldn't.
I now don't do it for this reason, but I had a reason for doing it years ago. And it's because anytime I asked my parents for help and they didn't want to help me, they would throw something in my face. For example, one time I asked to borrow their vehicle to move and they let me, and something like bounced off somebody's trailer on the highway, broke their windshield,
Oh,
and they
shit.
paid for it and didn't. They said, well, we'll pay for it, blah, blah, blah. 2 or 3 years later, I'm like, hey, can you help me here? La, 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 la. And they're like, no. And I'm like, you help this sister all the time. And they're like, well, we paid for that windshield that you broke that you didn't pay for. And that's the last time that situation ever happened because a switch turned in me that I was like, I am never asking for help again, even if you offer it. And so then I immediately switched their cell phones into my plan because I wanted to be able to use that against them one day.
I love it. It's petty and I enjoy
It's
it.
petty, it's spiteful, and I was saving for it. And now I had to become a better person, and I would never use that against them because I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. But I thought about pushing it back to them, being like, hey, I lost my pettiness, so you need these back.
So, was it last year or year before? It was year before last. I told my parents, and I was in this situation where I wasn't talking to my dad because he pissed me off, and for good reason. He mistreated my husband, and that is a hard line for me. So we didn't talk for like a year because I was like, no, this guy, I know what happened. He was drunk at home on a Sunday. He said something on Facebook on my husband's post that he shouldn't have said, that he probably didn't fully mean the way that it was taken. But I mean, the damage is done. You can't just, and the other part of it was my family's very apologetic about the things he does when he's just drunk. So like we just sort of forgive him. It's like an unwritten rule that like, oh, he was drunk. He didn't really mean it. For years. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. I don't give a shit whether you meant it or not. If you're drunk and you didn't mean to run somebody over in a car, you still ran somebody over in a car. It doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
anyways, that is to say, like, I kicked my parents off my cell phone plan around that time. And I was just like, yeah, it was, I was just done doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of this situation where it's kind of this presidential election where the second time now, the third time, I guess, that I've also thought about like pushing them off of it and being like, listen, you guys have no interest in taking care of me in any sort of way, even with the way you vote. I don't want to take care of
Why
you.
am I taking care of you? Yeah.
And so,
And if you throw that shit at me that like I raised you and blah blah blah, first of all, I didn't have that choice. You made that decision for me.
yeah, I'm like, you didn't want kids. You just felt like you had to have them because that's what society expected of you and that's what the Bible believed of you. That's your decision. You made that decision. You had to deal with it. I didn't make that decision
So
for
many
you.
parents make that their kid's problem. It just pisses me off.
That one I'm not worried about. I could care less about that one. We also had the conversation at work the other day about people feeling obligated to take care of their parents. I said, this is where I don't relate. They gave me tough love, told me I had to know how to take care of myself. And if they're ever in a position where they're like, well, you have to take care of us because we can't anymore. I'm like, you should have planned ahead. Neither of you have a 401k. You knew this was completely possible. You're just going to have to go to a home.
You'll have to figure
But
it
the
out.
state, yeah, you're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah. You're
This
going to
is
be a
not
ward
my
of the state. Because
Yeah,
I'm
I was
not
like,
dealing
this
with
is,
that.
you are not my obligation. I'm not going to take care of you. And that's shitty. I'm fine with that.
No,
I know
it's
that.
not shitty when your parents have been shitty to you and throw out expectations like that. I don't think that there is unlimited forgiveness for anybody in your life. You shouldn't be doing that.
Well,
And that's just a healthy boundary to draw, to say,
Yeah.
hey, like, I'm not going to take care of you and sacrifice my livelihood and life for that.
I just think back on all the shit that, they weren't pleased with me. So they just kind of slacked off being parents. And then now they expect that I'm supposed to, love them unconditionally like parents. And I'm like, well, I love you based off the conditions or based off the unconditional love I have to offer, I guess. And it's there-ish. But, my first year of college, they let me borrow a truck from the house. We had 8 vehicles, so they let me borrow one truck. I had to load everything by myself, go to the dorm, unload it all by myself, bring the truck back. Didn't hear from them for 3 months after I moved into college. And I was like, it's just shit like that I'm like, why am I supposed to forget that those moments happened that you've never acknowledged happened?
And that's, I don't think that you are. You don't have to unless you are actively trying to get them to like, and you're confronting them about it, which I don't think I care to do with my parents at this point, because like, I don't think that it would be effective. I think it would just make my life worse.
I think what would happen was mom would get her feelings hurt. I would get a call from grandma or somebody else saying that I hurt mom's feelings and that I need to understand that she's emotional. And I'm like, no, she's not. She's not emotional unless her feelings get hurt.
I have been a little bit more direct with my parents lately. And I swear one day my mom called me because she was watching our house for us, which I appreciate a lot. And she calls me because she apparently blacked out in the house. She has several health issues at this point in her life. And I was like, well, have you called 911? Like, if you blacked out to the point that you fell and woke up somewhere, like not in a bed, then you should probably call 911. Which I knew the answer. I knew it was going to be no. And I don't know what it was. It just sent me right over the edge because I was like, look, like, I cannot continue to be the adult in the family. I cannot be the only person who tries to take care of things. I can't be the one to push you to go take care of yourself or go to a hospital. I can't be the one to push dad to go go to his heart doctor because he's had a heart attack and heart surgery and like he needs to do it and he is fully 60 some odd years old. He needs to do it himself. Like you can't continue to be the children in this relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that of all things set me off because I was like, you know what? I'm going to call your mom because she's still alive and she can make you feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm just so fucking sick of it. And I've been a little bit more like that lately, but I feel like the last couple of times I've talked to my mom, I've been trying to be purposely nicer because I'm like, yeah, there's a part of me in the back of my head still that's just that, oh, you're going to make her feel bad.
all I keep doing is, yep, so and so died. That I don't remember who they are. It's been 25 years since I've seen them, so I don't know who it is. I'm like, I don't know why you think that I have this perfect memory of all these old people that I haven't seen since I was 5.
Right. Oh my
I
God.
literally thought somebody died like when I was in my teens, and they just died the other day, and I'm like, what? Okay, like,
I I keep seeing these people that were old when I was single digit age, and they're still alive on Facebook in my hometown. I'm just like, how? Who
I can't get
are
over
you? How old were you when I thought you were ancient?
my aunt by marriage a few years ago died, and I couldn't get over how slightly offended people were that I didn't show up. And I'm like, do you know how many words that woman said to me in my entire lifetime?
I see. That's the whole thing. It's like I think other people's expectations of you in those situations are meaningless to me
I
at
was
this
like,
point.
it's not like I disliked her or anything like that, but am I supposed to drop everything to
No,
go to a funeral of somebody that
no.
I, one, haven't seen in 15 years, two, literally could not tell you anything about her except the very few things that I do know, and they're all kind of negative in a way.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong for not showing up for a funeral for somebody that you don't care about. I think that's just a healthy boundary.
Yeah, like and then I feel really bad because my this fucking 30 minutes.
And we're out of time.
Thank you for joining us today on our show. As you can see, therapy is not always easy, but it can be very rewarding and healing.
If you want to follow our journey and see how we progress, tune in next episode for the continuation of We're Not Therapists, but We Need One.
Join us on our socials, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, and Instagram, and email us at nopenotttherapists@gmail.com.
That's NOPENOTTHERAPISTS @gmail.com.
We would love to hear your thoughts on our journey, or any questions you have that we can help answer. Until then,
Stay safe.
mental health is a serious and important issue that affects millions of people around the world.
If you or someone you know is struggling with depression, anxiety, trauma, or have any other mental health conditions, you're not alone, and there is help available.
You don't have to suffer in silence or feel ashamed of your feelings.
There are many resources and support networks that can help you cope and heal.
Here are just a few.
The Crisis Text Line, which is a 24/7 service that connects you to trained crisis counselors who can help you with any type of emotional crisis. You can text HOME to 741-741 in the US or Canada, or 85258 in the UK, or 50808 in Ireland. You can also visit crisistextline.org for more information.
The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is a 24/7 service that provides free and confidential support for people in distress, as well as prevention and crisis resources. You can call them at 1-800-273-8255 or chat online at suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
The Headspace app, which is a meditation and mindfulness app that can help you reduce stress, improve your mood, and enhance your well-being. The app offers guided meditations, breathing exercises, sleep sounds, and other tools that can help you relax and cope with your emotions. You can download the app for free and try it for 10 days or subscribe for unlimited access to all features. You can find the app on the App Store or Google Play, or visit headspace.com for more information.
These are just some of the resources that we have found helpful, but there are many more out there that can suit your needs or preferences. The most important thing is to reach out for help when you need it, and to know that you are not alone. Mental health is not a weakness, but a strength, and taking care of it is one of the best things you can do for yourself and your loved ones. Until next time,